Cadets laughed. Earth isn't real. She raised her hand. The alarm stayed silent for the first time. Cadets of all shapes, sizes, and species walked briskly down the wide corridors, their boots or claws or hover spheres clicking against the polished floors. Some were tall and shimmering with translucent skin, others had armored shells and multiple limbs. Yet among them all, one young figure walked quietly, observing everything with sharp, alert eyes. Myra Valen, the only confirmed human in the academy, was small compared to most of her peers, but her presence felt far larger than her stature. Her dark hair fell over her shoulders in a careful braid, and her brown eyes darted around the bustling hallways, taking in details most would overlook. She was aware of the whispers, of the glances that lingered too long. Humanity was considered a myth, a story told in old archives and forgotten star charts. The other cadets were often dismissive, even cruel, when Earth was mentioned. Today was one of those days. Myra walked into Lecture Hall 3C, a massive room shaped like a semicircle, with floating chairs that adjusted to the size and weight of each cadet. The room smelled faintly of ozone and polished metal, the scent of 1,000 starships and simulations. She found her usual seat near the middle, where she could see the instructor clearly and still observe her peers. Professor Karath, a four-armed alien with jade-green skin, stood at the front of the hall, tapping a claw on a translucent screen. He was lecturing about the origins of intelligent life across the galaxy, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the myths that often disguised truth. His voice was deep, vibrating slightly in the artificial acoustics of the hall. And so, Karath concluded, his three eyes glinting with intensity, the records show that life, intelligent life, can emerge in countless forms. Some species rise to greatness, then fall, leaving only myths for future generations. One such civilization, long debated and almost entirely erased, is humanity. A snicker rose from the back of the hall. Myra's ears twitched. She recognized the voice immediately. It belonged to Vether, a tall, silver-scaled cadet with a mouth full of sharp teeth that always seemed ready to smile or bite. Beside him, a cluster of his friends, mostly reptilian and insectoid, joined in the laughter. Ha! Humanity, Vether's voice echoed across the hall, dripping with mockery. You mean that planet that supposedly exploded 1,000 cycles ago? That Earth isn't real, just a fairy tale for your kind. A ripple of laughter spread. Myra's stomach tightened. This was a scene she had seen many times before, yet something inside her sparked, not fear but determination. Professor Karath's multiple eyes narrowed. Cadets, this is a serious discussion. Dismissing civilizations without evidence is not only disrespectful, but it is unworthy of those who would navigate the galaxy. Vether laughed again, louder this time, his long tail slithering across the floor. Respect? For humans, we've never even seen one. I say they were stories like the old ghost tales of the Void Sea, the hall erupted. Some cadets clapped their many hands, others hovered in their chairs, shaking with amusement. Myra felt a flush rise in her cheeks, but she did not speak. She had learned long ago that arguing against a pack of cynics rarely ended well. Instead, she listened, her mind working quickly. She could feel the weight of the moment, the disbelief in the room, and the subtle tension in the air. Her heart beat faster, not from fear, but from the knowledge that the moment could become more than just mockery. Professor Karath raised two of his arms and banged his palms together. Silence! The room immediately quieted, all attention turning to the instructor. Vether, your laughter is noted, but it will not distract from the truth. Humanity exists. The evidence is rare, yes, and some records are missing, but dismissing it outright is folly. Cadets, remember this, intelligence and courage do not always travel together. Sometimes those with the loudest voices know the least. Vether snorted but remained silent, though a faint glimmer of curiosity appeared in his eyes. Some of the other cadets shifted uncomfortably, realizing that the laughter might have gone too far. Myra's hand tightened around the strap of her bag. She wanted to speak. She wanted to shout the truth across the room, but she had learned patience. Humans had a subtle strength, the kind that didn't always shout but waited for the perfect moment. And today she would find that moment. The lecture continued, delving into the technical aspects of lost civilizations, their star maps, surviving artifacts, and faint quantum signals. Cadets murmured among themselves, some taking notes, others still giggling softly at the mention of Earth. Myra's mind wandered to the small, blue and green planet she had only seen in holovids and encrypted archives, a place she had never visited but felt in her bones. It was Earth, and it was real. After the lecture, the cadets spilled out into the corridors. Myra walked alone, moving through the streams of alien students, their voices echoing off the metallic walls. She noticed small groups whispering about her, some with curiosity, others with suspicion. Humans were so rare in the galaxy that her existence alone sparked rumors. Vether and his friends appeared at the far end of the corridor, clearly waiting for her. "Hey, human," Vether called, his sharp teeth flashing in a grin. "You really exist, huh? I thought you were just a story." Myra stopped. Her eyes met his, calmly, steadily. "I exist," she said softly yet firmly. Her voice carried an unspoken weight, a quiet confidence that made some cadets glance away. Vether blinked. For a moment he seemed unsure how to respond. "Huh, that's weird," he muttered, clearly unprepared for her composure. Myra turned and continued walking, her steps measured and unwavering. She didn't need to engage further. Her actions, her presence, and her calm defiance said more than words ever could. By the time she reached the dormitory, the corridors were quieter. Most cadets had dispersed to their living quarters or the training rooms. Myra entered her room, a simple space with a small bed, a desk, and a window that displayed the infinite stars outside. She sat at her desk and opened a small, encrypted data pad. Inside were holovids of Earth, ancient records, star charts, and even a few artifacts sent by older humans who had traveled before her. Her fingers traced the images, her mind alive with plans. If no one believed in humans, then she would show them. If the galaxy mocked her kind, then she would prove the truth. The next day, she would attend a seminar on quantum navigation, a subject where humans had once excelled. She had learned from her ancestors' writings that courage was not just about standing up. It was about being ready when the moment arrived. And Myra felt the moment approaching. That night, as she lay on her bed staring at the swirling stars outside, she whispered to herself, almost like a promise, "I will show them that humans are real, and they will not laugh at Earth again." Outside, the galaxy continued its endless hum. Ships streaked past in distant orbits, stars flared and dimmed, and planets rotated silently in the void. Myra felt a quiet thrill. Among all these beings, among all these civilizations, she was ready to remind the universe that humans were not myths. Her determination burned brighter than the nearest sun. Somewhere deep inside, she knew that this was only the beginning. The next morning, the academy buzzed with anticipation. Cadets from every corner of the galaxy gathered in Lecture Hall 7B, a dome-shaped chamber with walls that projected holographic simulations of distant star systems. The topic for today was controversial: the lost civilizations and their influence on modern interstellar society. Many cadets were eager to mock the subject, as usual. Humanity, with its mysterious and disputed origins, would be the first target. Myra walked into the hall quietly, her braids swinging gently over her shoulder. Her presence seemed to stir a faint curiosity among a few cadets who had never seen a human so calm in the face of ridicule. She took her usual seat, letting her eyes sweep across the room. Vether and his friends sat in the back, their laughter barely contained, already anticipating the opportunity to humiliate anyone who mentioned Earth. Professor Karath floated to the center of the hall, his forearms stretching elegantly as he tapped the air. Today, we discuss the civilizations that shaped the galaxy long before most cadets were born. Some of these cultures are well documented. Others exist only in fragments, whispers, and encrypted records. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle over the cadets. One civilization in particular has been a subject of debate for many cycles: humanity. Almost immediately, laughter erupted from the back. "Humans?" Vether shouted. "You mean that planet that disappeared ages ago? Pure fiction." The hall echoed with snickers and giggles, cadets leaning in to mock and whisper to each other. Myra's lips pressed into a thin line. She did not flinch, nor did she look away. She had expected this, and she had prepared herself. Professor Karath raised one arm. "Cadets, silence. Mockery will not change facts. Evidence exists, although hidden, encrypted, or fragmented, of humanity's presence in the galaxy. Some records even suggest that humans were pioneers in certain interstellar technologies." Vether let out a sharp laugh. "Ha, pioneers where?" "On a rock that no longer exists. I say humans are just a story, a bedtime tale for gullible species. The classroom erupted in laughter again, and Myra's heart beat faster. She knew it was time. For a long moment, she simply observed. Then she raised her hand. The gesture was small, almost casual. Yet the effect on the hall was immediate. Silence. Not the forced silence of the professor's voice, but a deeper, heavier silence like the calm before a storm. Cadets froze in their chairs. Even Vether's laughter faltered. Professor Karath's three eyes widened. "Myra Valen?" he asked. His voice was calm, yet filled with curiosity. "You believe the stories of Earth?" Myra's gaze swept the room. "I know they are true," she said. Her voice was clear, steady, and unshakable. "Earth exists. Humans exist, and we are real." For a moment, nothing happened. No alarms, no warnings. In the academy, any cadet who mentioned an anomaly or truth considered too dangerous for students would trigger a security protocol. Alarms, automatic lockdowns, and surveillance activation. But this time the alarms remained silent. A whisper of astonishment ran through the room. Cadets exchanged stunned glances. Professor Karath, however, did not interrupt. He simply nodded, his expression unreadable. Vether's mouth opened, closed, and opened again. What, how?" he stammered. "Alarms, they should." "They did not sound," Myra interrupted, her eyes locking onto his. "Because this is not a myth, it is the truth." Some cadets shifted uncomfortably in their floating chairs. Others leaned forward, curiosity replacing amusement. A few whispered softly to each other, realizing that perhaps they had underestimated humans entirely. Professor Karath floated to the center, his forearms crossing. "This is unprecedented," he said, his voice calm but filled with awe. "Cadets, you are witnessing a unique event. The system has recognized the presence of authentic human knowledge. It does not react to falsehoods, only anomalies. And this is not an anomaly, it is the real thing." Myra swallowed, feeling both nervous and exhilarated. Her moment had come. "I have access to encrypted archives," she continued. "Records of human voyages, star maps, technologies. Humans were explorers long before many species learned to leave their home planets. Earth is real, and it is waiting. Humanity has not vanished, it has hidden, observed, and survived." The room was silent now. Even Vether looked unsure, his confidence shaken. For once he had nothing to say. Professor Karath raised an arm again. "Very well, Myra. Since the system permits this revelation, we shall proceed differently today. I would like you to demonstrate, briefly, what evidence you have of humanity's existence." Myra nodded. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small hollow emitter no larger than a tablet. She activated it, and a three-dimensional projection sprang into the air above the desk. A holographic image of Earth appeared, blue and green, clouds swirling around its surface. Rivers gleamed like silver threads, and forests stretched across continents. The cadets gasped. "Earth," Myra said softly, "is our home. Humans evolved here, explored the stars, and left records for others to follow. Many of those records were lost or hidden, but I have access to some of the surviving archives." She manipulated the hollow emitter, showing star maps, diagrams of early human starships, and encrypted logs. Each image brought a murmur of astonishment from the cadets. Even Vether leaned forward, eyes wide. "This is impossible," he muttered. "How could humans have done all this?" "Because we are adaptable," Myra replied. "Humans have always been survivors, thinkers, and explorers. We do not rely solely on strength or numbers. We use ingenuity, cooperation, and creativity. That is why Earth still exists, even if hidden from the galaxy." Cadets whispered among themselves, the room alive with speculation and excitement. Some were skeptical, others curious, but no one laughed. The mockery of the previous day had vanished, replaced with awe and intrigue. Professor Karath floated closer to Myra, his eyes studying her carefully. "You are remarkable," he said. "The confidence, knowledge, and composure you display at such a young age. Humans may indeed have been underestimated. Perhaps it is time we revisit our records and allow the galaxy to remember what was lost." Myra nodded, a small smile touching her lips. She had not done this for praise or recognition. She had done this to prove that humans were real and to show that courage and knowledge could outshine mockery. After the lecture, a group of cadets approached her. Some were tentative, hesitant to speak. Others were bold, eager to understand the reality of humans. I didn't know humans could do all this," one cadet said. She had soft, lavender skin and eyes that shimmered like liquid silver. "I thought Earth was just a story." It is real, Myra said, nodding. And it's only the beginning. There is more to learn, more to explore, more to see. Humanity has survived countless challenges, and we will continue to do so. Even Vether approached, though his expression was guarded. I underestimated you, he admitted. I thought you were a myth, but now I'm not so sure. Myra smiled faintly. You are allowed to be surprised, she said, but this is only the first step. There is much more to see. Word of her demonstration spread quickly through the academy. Cadets spoke of the human who had raised her hand and silenced the alarms. Professors discussed her knowledge and composure. Rumors flew across the dormitories, and whispers of Earth being real circulated through the hallways. Myra returned to her dormitory that evening, exhausted but exhilarated. She knew that what she had done was not the end. It was only the beginning. The galaxy had finally seen a human stand openly, and for the first time, no alarms sounded to warn of truth. That silence spoke louder than any words. As she sat by her window, watching distant stars spin slowly in the void, she whispered to herself, "They laughed, they doubted, but now they see." The silence of the academy that night was different. It was no longer mocking or dismissive. It was a quiet acknowledgement that humans were real, that Earth existed, and that Myra Valen was the beginning of something far greater. Somewhere in the galaxy, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if witnessing a human's courage for the first time. Myra knew the journey ahead would be long and filled with challenges, but for the first time, she felt certain that humans could reclaim their place in the galaxy. And tomorrow, the real test would begin. The day after her remarkable demonstration, the Academy was buzzing with curiosity and speculation. Whispers of Earth being real had spread through the dormitories and training halls. Cadets from all corners of the galaxy were talking about Myra Valen, the human who had raised her hand and silenced the alarms. Some were skeptical, some were in awe, and a few, like Vether, were trying to process their own surprise. Myra walked through the corridors with quiet confidence. She had learned to ignore the stares, the whispers, and even the lingering doubt. Today was different. Today, she had been invited to the observation deck for a private demonstration, an opportunity to show proof of humanity's achievements in interstellar exploration. The observation deck was a massive glass dome, floating hundreds of meters above the Academy's main campus. Stars stretched across the sky like a sea of diamonds, and distant planets rotated slowly in their orbits. In the center of the dome was a platform surrounded by screens and hollow projectors, ready for her to display her evidence. Professor Karath was already there, his forearms crossed, watching her approach. "Myra Valen," he said, his voice carrying both respect and curiosity. "The Academy has permitted this demonstration. Show us what humanity has achieved. Show us why the galaxy should remember your kind." Myra nodded and set her bag on the platform. She removed a small, sleek hollow emitter from it and activated it. A three-dimensional projection sprang into the air, showing a blue and green planet, Earth. The image rotated slowly, clouds drifting over mountains and oceans. Even the stars in the background seemed to shift to match the planet's real position in the galaxy. "This," Myra began, her voice calm but firm, "is Earth. Humanity evolved here, learned to survive, and eventually explored the stars. Many records were lost, hidden, or encrypted. What I show you today is only a fraction of what remains." The cadets present, some who had followed the news of her previous lecture, watched in awe. Even the most skeptical were captivated by the clarity and precision of the projections. She manipulated the hollow emitter and new images appeared. Star maps, complex but elegant, floated in the air. Lines connected stars across galaxies, showing routes humans had explored, trade paths, and hidden colonies. The cadets gasped. "These are not myths," Myra explained. "Humans traveled farther than many species believed possible. We developed technology to survive in harsh environments, to communicate across vast distances, and to navigate the most dangerous regions of space. All of this was done quietly, often unnoticed by other civilizations." A cadet with shimmering purple skin and 6 arms stepped forward. "But how could humans achieve all this without being seen, without leaving records that other species could follow?" Myra smiled faintly. "We learned the value of patience and discretion. Humans survive by thinking, planning, and adapting. We do not rely solely on strength. Intelligence, cooperation, and creativity have always been our greatest tools. We chose to remain hidden because the galaxy was not yet ready to accept us fully. That does not mean we did not exist. It means we survived where others might have failed. Vether, who had been standing quietly at the back, finally spoke. His voice was low, uncertain. I didn't believe you before, but this is impossible. Myra turned to face him, her eyes steady. It is not impossible. It is reality. Humanity has always been underestimated. That is the story of our kind. The cadets leaned in, some taking notes on their holopads, others simply staring. Myra continued, showing diagrams of early human starships, sleek designs, compact and efficient, built to travel long distances while conserving resources. She displayed simulations of early human colonies on distant planets, hidden from the eyes of other species. Professor Karath's eyes glimmered with interest. These records are remarkable, he said. Humanity's ingenuity has been underestimated for centuries. Your demonstration proves more than your existence, it proves your potential. Myra nodded. Potential, she agreed. And that potential is still alive today. Humanity may be rare, but we are resilient. We do not give up and we do not follow blindly. That is why I am here, why I am showing this. The galaxy must understand that humans are not just myths. They are pioneers, explorers, and survivors. One of the younger cadets, a small insectoid with iridescent wings, raised a hand. Can humans fight, protect themselves? Myra paused, considering her words carefully. Humans have survived wars, natural disasters, and cosmic dangers. Our strength is not just in combat, but in strategy, innovation, and collaboration. We can fight if necessary, but we prefer to solve problems creatively. That has allowed us to endure where others might have fallen. The cadets murmured among themselves. Some were impressed, others skeptical, but the room was alive with engagement. Myra's demonstration was not just teaching them, it was challenging their assumptions, reshaping their understanding of the galaxy. Then she revealed something even more astonishing. She activated a sequence showing quantum communications, a system humans had developed to send messages across vast distances instantaneously. Lines of light connected distant planets, bypassing traditional faster-than-light limitations. This system, Myra explained, allowed humans to coordinate exploration, share knowledge, and survive in the shadows of the galaxy. Even when others thought we were gone, we were communicating, learning, and planning. Humans may have been underestimated, but we were never idle. The cadets were silent, staring at the projection in awe. Even Vether could not hide his fascination. "Your kind," he said finally, "your kind is incredible." Myra looked at him calmly. "We are not incredible because of power or size. We are incredible because we adapt, because we think, and because we never give up. That is what humans have always done, and that is why we are real and why Earth exists." Professor Karath raised a hand. "Myra Valen, you have not only proven humanity's existence, you have reminded us all of the importance of courage, ingenuity, and perseverance. The Academy should take note. Cadets should learn from this example." Myra nodded, a quiet sense of satisfaction rising within her. She had not come for recognition, yet the acknowledgement of her knowledge and composure felt meaningful. After the demonstration, cadets crowded around her, asking questions, trying to understand the technology, the maps, and the history she had shown. Some were cautious, testing her claims. Others were eager, seeing for the first time that humans were not just stories or myths. One cadet, a tall species with golden eyes and wings like a dragon, asked, "Will humans return to the galaxy openly? Will we see more of your kind?" Myra's gaze swept across the room. "In time," she said, "but only when the galaxy is ready to understand us fully. For now, humans observe, learn, and prepare. Our history is long, and our future is just beginning. One day, humanity will no longer be hidden. One day, we will show the galaxy the strength and ingenuity of our kind." Vether, still processing everything, finally nodded. I underestimated you," he admitted, "but I see now that humans are something else entirely." Myra smiled faintly. "It is not about being something else," she said. "It is about being yourself and using what you have. Humans survive and thrive because we embrace our strengths and learn from our weaknesses. That is the truth of our kind." As the cadets dispersed, whispers of awe and respect followed her through the observation deck. Some still doubted, but many were inspired. Humanity, once considered a myth, was now a living example of resilience and ingenuity. That night, Myra returned to her dormitory, exhausted but exhilarated. She knew that revealing these secrets would not end the disbelief entirely, but it had planted seeds of curiosity and respect. The galaxy had glimpsed the truth, and the perception of humans was beginning to shift. She sat by the window, staring at the stars, her thoughts racing. Humans had survived countless challenges, hidden in the shadows, and adapted to circumstances that would have destroyed other civilizations. Now she was showing the galaxy that survival was only the beginning, that humans were capable of shaping the future, exploring the unknown, and overcoming even the greatest obstacles. Her mind wandered to the next steps. There were other cadets to reach, other skeptical minds to change, and other secrets to reveal. Humanity's legacy was vast, and she had only begun to uncover it. A soft chime sounded on her holopad, a message from Professor Karath. Myra, your demonstration has exceeded expectations. The Council wishes to meet with you to discuss further revelations. Humanity's secrets are no longer hidden. Prepare yourself. Myra's heart raced. This was the next step, the moment she had been preparing for. The galaxy had begun to see humanity not as a myth, but as a force of resilience, ingenuity, and courage. And she, Myra Valen, would be the one to guide them to understand it. As she lay in bed that night, staring at the endless stars outside her window, she whispered to herself, "They are beginning to understand. Humanity is real, and we have only just begun." The academy was alive with excitement and tension the morning after Myra's demonstration. The whispers and awe from her revelations had reached every corner of the school. Cadets who had once mocked Earth were now curious, and some even approached her with cautious respect. But amidst the admiration, there were also challenges. Some cadets could not accept that a human could surpass expectations, even with undeniable evidence. Professor Karath had summoned her to the Central Council Chamber, a vast circular room with a ceiling that displayed a holographic galaxy in real time. Stars pulsed gently, and distant nebulae shimmered with soft colors. The Council of Instructors, representatives from multiple species, floated above their platforms, their eyes focused on Myra. "Myra Valen," Professor Karath began, his voice steady but intense, "your demonstration has shocked and impressed the Academy. However, knowledge alone is not enough to prove the true capabilities of humanity. Action is required. Courage, ingenuity, and skill must be tested in the field. Are you prepared for such a challenge?" Myra's chest rose and fell steadily. "I am ready," she said firmly. The council exchanged glances, then nodded. "Very well. You will lead a team of cadets, mixed species, to a sector of the galaxy considered dangerous and largely uncharted. There, you will navigate through hazards, solve complex problems, and recover an artifact of historical significance. Success will prove the ability of humans not only to survive, but to excel where others falter." A murmur ran through the chamber. Cadets whispered among themselves, some excited, some skeptical. Myra's gaze shifted slightly, noticing Vether among them. He looked tense, his silver scales catching the light as his tail flicked nervously. "You will depart immediately," Karath continued. "Your team has been selected. You will have minimal assistance from the Academy, only your skills, your cooperation, and your knowledge." Myra nodded again, determination burning in her chest. This was not just a test of skill, it was a test of trust, strategy, and human ingenuity. The team assigned to her was diverse. There was Lyra, the six-armed insectoid cadet with quick reflexes and a sharp mind. Jorvac, a hulking reptilian with immense strength and protective instincts. And Talai, a slender, telepathic species whose ability to sense danger could be invaluable. Vether was also included, not by choice, but because the council wanted an observer who could challenge and test her. The briefing room was quiet as Myra studied the mission parameters. The artifact they were to retrieve was located in the Zethurian sector, a cluster of stars and planets known for unpredictable gravitational fields, rogue asteroids, and dense electromagnetic storms. Many cadets had failed missions here before. The sector was dangerous enough that even advanced starships struggled to navigate safely. Myra glanced at her team. "We need to work together," she said simply. "Strength alone won't get us through this. We'll need creativity, observation, and strategy. Everyone has a role. Lyra, your reflexes will help us avoid hazards. Jorvac, your strength will help us maneuver obstacles. Talai, your telepathy will help us anticipate dangers. And Vether, You'll learn that humans plan carefully before acting." Vether's jaw tightened, but he did not speak. He seemed skeptical, but Myra's calm confidence left little room for argument. The team boarded a medium-sized exploration vessel, sleek and equipped with the latest sensors and propulsion systems. Myra took the pilot's seat, hands steady on the controls. She had spent countless hours studying human starship navigation, and her instincts were sharp. As the vessel left the Academy's orbit, the stars stretched into long streaks, and the galaxy unfolded before them. Myra could feel the weight of expectation pressing down, but she focused on the task ahead. The journey to the Zethurian sector was filled with minor challenges, asteroid belts, gravitational anomalies, and sudden solar flares, but Myra guided the team with precision. Each obstacle required problem-solving, careful coordination, and quick thinking. Lyra's multiple arms moved rapidly, adjusting sensors and shields to protect the vessel. Jorvek used his strength to stabilize the ship when gravity spikes threatened to throw them off course. Talai's telepathy alerted them to hidden dangers, warning of unexpected asteroid movements or electrical storms. Even Vether began to respect the careful planning and observation Myra employed, though he did not admit it aloud. Hours passed, and the sector drew closer. The first major obstacle appeared, a dense asteroid field with massive chunks of rock shifting unpredictably. Many ships had been destroyed trying to navigate this region. Myra studied the field, her mind calculating trajectories, gravity pulls, and potential escape routes. Lyra, monitor the debris patterns. Jorvek, prepare the stabilizers. Talai, warn us of any unexpected movement. The vessel moved forward, weaving carefully between the asteroids. One rock nearly struck the hull, sending a shudder through the ship. Myra adjusted the course instantly, guiding the vessel to safety. The team worked seamlessly, their cooperation growing stronger with each passing moment. Even Vether's skepticism began to waver. He watched Myra with something like awe. "I didn't think humans could handle this," he admitted quietly. Myra gave him a faint smile without turning. "It's not about what humans can handle," she replied. "It's about planning, observing, and adapting. That is how we survive and succeed." After several hours of tense navigation, the team reached the edge of the Zethurian sector. Ahead lay the planet Zethuria 5, a rocky world covered in jagged cliffs and deep canyons. The artifact they sought was hidden in a cave system beneath the surface, protected by natural hazards and unstable terrain. Myra landed the vessel carefully, her hands steady. The team disembarked, each equipped with climbing gear, scanners, and protective suits. The wind on Zethuria 5 was strong, carrying fine dust that stung exposed skin. The cliffs were treacherous, but Myra's confidence never wavered. "Follow my lead," she instructed. "We'll move slowly and carefully. Watch each other. Communication is key." The team descended into the canyon, navigating narrow ledges, steep drops, and hidden crevices. Lyra's agility helped her scout ahead, marking safe paths. Jorvek used his strength to create handholds and move obstacles. Talai's telepathy warned them of unstable sections of rock or sudden collapses. Myra's leadership was precise. Every movement, every decision was calculated yet adaptable. Even Vether began to trust her judgment, silently acknowledging that her human instincts and intelligence were unmatched. Hours later, they reached the entrance of the cave where the artifact was hidden. It was guarded by a series of puzzles and environmental traps, pressure-sensitive floors, shifting walls, and energy barriers. Many cadets before them had failed at this stage. Myra examined the traps carefully. "These are designed to test observation and logic, not strength," she explained. "We'll need to move step by step, thinking carefully about every action." The team followed her instructions, moving cautiously. Lyra's multiple arms manipulated the barriers with precision. Jorvek held stabilizers in place. Talai's telepathy warned of hidden dangers, and Myra led every step, her human ingenuity guiding them through the puzzles. At one point, an energy barrier threatened to cut off their path. Myra studied its rhythm, timing, and source. "We need to move together," she instructed. "On my mark, now." They passed through the barrier safely, emerging into the inner chamber of the cave. In the center was the artifact, a small, glowing orb of unknown origin, pulsating with soft energy. Myra approached it carefully, examining it with scanners. "This is what the Council sent us for," she said. The artifact contains data on an ancient civilization, possibly linked to early human exploration. We've succeeded because we worked together, observed carefully, and trusted each other's skills. The team gathered around, marveling at the artifact. Even Vether could not hide his admiration. I see now, he admitted. Humans really are extraordinary. Myra looked at him calmly. We are not extraordinary because we are humans, she said. We are extraordinary because we think, plan, and cooperate. That is how we survive and succeed. The return journey was quieter but no less tense. The artifact needed to be delivered safely to the Academy for study. Myra guided the vessel through the asteroid fields and gravitational anomalies with precision, her team working seamlessly together. When they finally returned, the Academy erupted in applause. Cadets and instructors alike marveled at the successful mission. Professor Karath approached Myra, his expression one of pride. You have done more than prove humanity's existence, he said. You have proven its ingenuity, courage, and leadership. The galaxy will remember this mission, and the Academy will never underestimate humans again. Myra smiled faintly. She knew the mission was only the beginning, but it was an important step. Humans were no longer myths, and their abilities could no longer be doubted. That night, Myra stood on her dormitory balcony, gazing at the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with mysteries, dangers, and opportunities. Humanity had survived, adapted, and excelled in secret, but now the universe had begun to see the truth. She whispered to herself a quiet promise. This is only the beginning. Humanity will not just survive, we will thrive, and the galaxy will know it. The Academy was buzzing with energy the morning after Myra's successful mission to the Zethurian sector. The whispers, curiosity, and awe that had followed her demonstration and journey had grown into something larger. A quiet respect, a sense that humans were no longer just myths or legends. Cadets who had laughed at Earth now discussed it seriously, and many openly acknowledged Myra's abilities. Yet Myra knew this was only the beginning. Her mission had proven that humans could survive, adapt, and lead in extreme circumstances. But there were still doubts, still skeptics, still challenges to overcome. The galaxy was vast, and proving humanity's potential required more than a single successful mission. Professor Karath summoned her once again to the council chamber. The holographic galaxy above their heads pulsed softly, a reminder of how expansive and complex the universe truly was. Myra Valen, he began, his voice calm but carrying weight. The Council has observed your success in the Zethurian sector. However, to fully secure humanity's recognition and rightful place in the galaxy, we require a final demonstration. One that not only proves your species' ingenuity but also ensures your legacy is known. Myra nodded, her resolve unshaken. I am ready, she said simply. The Council explained the mission. Deep in the Orion Veil, a mysterious and largely unexplored region of space, lay an abandoned space station orbiting a neutron star. The station contained a vault of historical data, records of early human interstellar exploration, technological blueprints, and archives of civilizations humans had interacted with. Retrieving these records would prove beyond doubt that humanity had been a pioneering civilization, capable of surviving and excelling under any circumstance. The challenge, however, was immense. The neutron star emitted powerful gravitational waves, radiation bursts, and unpredictable energy storms. Many explorers had approached the Orion Veil and never returned. Myra understood the stakes. This mission would require precision, courage, and ingenuity, the full measure of humanity's strengths. Her team assembled once again, Lyra, Jorvac, Talai, and Vether. There was no room for hesitation. Each member had grown under her leadership, their skills refined and their trust in her proven. Vether, despite his earlier skepticism, had become a loyal ally, albeit still quietly competitive. The journey to the Orion Veil was tense. The gravitational waves from the neutron star distorted space itself, making navigation a delicate task. Myra relied on both her instincts and the star maps she had decrypted from ancient human records. She guided the vessel through narrow, safe corridors, adjusting shields, propulsion, and sensors to compensate for the star's unpredictable behavior. Lyra's reflexes kept the ship's shields active against sudden particle storms, while Jorvac used his strength to stabilize internal systems during violent shifts in gravity. Talai's telepathy warned them of unseen dangers, hidden energy bursts and shifting radiation fields. Even Vether began to admit silently to himself that Myra's human ingenuity and composure were exceptional. Hours passed, each more dangerous than the last. The Orion Veil tested their endurance, but Myra remained calm, calculating every move, coordinating her team, and adapting to unexpected hazards. Finally, the abandoned space station came into view. It orbited the neutron star like a delicate jewel, battered by time but still intact. Myra carefully maneuvered the vessel closer, scanning for structural weaknesses and potential threats. "The station is stable enough for boarding," she said. "We proceed carefully." This is not just about speed, it's about strategy and observation. The team suited up and boarded the station. Inside, corridors twisted and turned like a labyrinth, with sections damaged by past storms. Radiation shields hummed as they moved, and the lights flickered occasionally, adding to the tension. Myra led her team, navigating the maze-like interior. Lyra scouted ahead, marking safe paths. Jorvac cleared debris and stabilized sections of the station. Talai's telepathy allowed them to anticipate structural collapses or hidden dangers, and Myra, guiding every decision, kept them moving with precision and confidence. At one point, they encountered a collapsed section of the corridor. The path forward was blocked by heavy debris, too dense for even Jorvac to move alone. Myra studied the area. "There's a pressure panel here," she said. "If we distribute the weight and use the station's structural supports, we can lift the debris safely. It will require coordination, timing, and trust." The team followed her instructions. Lyra adjusted support beams with her multiple arms, Jorvac applied strength at key points, and Talai monitored for stress on the structure. Myra coordinated every movement. Slowly, carefully, they cleared the passage and moved forward. After hours of careful navigation, they reached the vault. The room was massive, filled with holographic archives, sealed containers, and delicate artifacts. In the center was a console that required both knowledge and ingenuity to access, a combination of ancient human codes and advanced security protocols. Myra studied the console. Her fingers moved swiftly across controls, translating old human algorithms into commands the station could understand. Lines of code and holographic keys aligned, unlocking the vault. "Access granted," the system announced. The room shimmered as records of early human exploration, technological achievements, and interstellar interactions were revealed. The team was stunned. "These are the records we've been seeking," Myra said softly. "This proves humanity was not only real but also a pioneering civilization. Every artifact, every map, every log confirms our place in the galaxy's history." Vether stepped forward, his silver scales glinting. I can't believe it," he admitted. "Humans, you really are extraordinary." Myra shook her head. "We are not extraordinary because we are humans," she said. "We are extraordinary because we think, plan, and adapt. That is what allowed humanity to survive and excel when others doubted us." Lyra, Jorvac, and Talai nodded, understanding the depth of her words. They had seen it firsthand, the calm determination, the careful observation, and the relentless ingenuity that guided every decision. The return to the academy was tense but successful. Myra's team navigated through the gravitational waves and radiation bursts of the neutron star with precision. Every obstacle they overcame proved the effectiveness of their cooperation, strategy, and human ingenuity. When they arrived, the academy erupted in celebration. Cadets, instructors, and council members alike marveled at the artifacts, holographic archives, and records Myra had retrieved. The proof was undeniable. Humans had been explorers, innovators, and survivors long before many other civilizations had even left their home worlds. Professor Karath approached Myra, his multiple arms raised in acknowledgement. "You have done the impossible," he said. "Not only have you proven humanity exists, but you have shown the galaxy the depth of your knowledge, courage, and ingenuity. Your legacy will be remembered." Myra nodded humbly. "I did not do this alone," she said, gesturing to her team. "Every member contributed. Cooperation, trust, and strategy are what allowed us to succeed. That is the strength of humanity." Even Vether, who had once mocked Earth, now stood quietly in respect. "I understand now," he said. "Humans are something else entirely, not because of power, but because of mind, courage, and perseverance." Myra smiled faintly. "That is the truth of our kind, and now the galaxy knows it too." That evening, the Academy held a ceremony to honor Myra and her team. Hollow projections of Earth, the Zethurian mission, and the Orion Vale expedition were displayed. Cadets who had once doubted humans watched with awe and respect. Professors discussed the strategic brilliance, leadership, and ingenuity Myra had demonstrated. Myra stood quietly, accepting acknowledgement without arrogance. She had proven more than her existence. She had proven that humans could lead, adapt, and excel in situations others deemed impossible. She returned to her dormitory afterward, gazing at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, dangers, and opportunities. Humanity had survived countless challenges, hidden in the shadows, and now it was no longer invisible. Myra whispered to herself, a quiet promise and a declaration. This is only the beginning. Humanity will thrive, explore, and shape the future. We will not be forgotten, and we will show the galaxy the strength of our kind. Somewhere in the vast expanse of stars, the universe seemed to acknowledge her words. The silence was no longer empty. It was filled with the potential of a species that had endured, adapted, and now returned to claim its place. Humanity's triumph was complete, not through conquest or strength, but through courage, intelligence, and the unyielding determination to survive and excel. And Myra Valen, the human who had raised her hand while the alarm stayed silent, had become the symbol of that triumph, inspiring generations to come. The galaxy had laughed once, doubted once, and dismissed Earth as a myth. But now humanity stood tall, undeniable, and extraordinary, and it had only just begun.